And here, so to the people who are joining us for the first time, Caravan is a platform where we come together, we share our life stories with each other. And it's not that, for sharing a story or your life or your soul out, you need to be a celebrity or a great speaker, then only your story is worth sharing. We here believe that stories are strong and every story is worth sharing, and we can learn, we can grow with each and every story. So this is one of our most and foremost, and the motive of Caravan, and why we come here every weekend and we meet together with a new story. So, before we start, there are some certain little ground rules that we need to take care of. And so, for the speaker, the speaker would have 10 to 20 minutes to tell the story, and the listeners will have 1 to 2 minutes to reflect on the story. So this is for the audience or the listeners, that once the story is over, once the speaker has told his or her tale, you have to reflect back on what your learning from the story is, or what your takeaway is, or if you could relate to this, to his or her story, or there's something that similar happened in your life, so you can share and go ahead with that. So that is that for the rules. And now I would like to welcome the speaker of the day, Krishna. So just a little uh, description about, or a little intro about Krishna. So he is an accomplished coach and writer, offering a solid background in leadership, strategy, change management, and emotional intelligence. Krishna advises companies and individuals using his framework coaching approach that focuses on delivering results in an integrated and comprehensive manner. He has led teams in various capacities and was responsible for the creation of DNA of Technology, a weekly page in a DNA newspaper that was printed in 3 cities across India. He His writing has also been published in Tech Radar, the Free Press Journal, and the Juice, Shubh Yatra, Huffington Post, and a lot others. So it is, a lot of things, and I'm so excited to know his backstory and how he have accomplished so much. And he looks very young. I mean, he actually looks almost my age. So I'm very excited to know your story, Krishna. Let's put our hands together and welcome Krishna. Krishna, the stage is all yours.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. That was such a warm introduction, even though it was my introduction, sort of just given very passionately. And yeah, I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy to share my story. And yeah, I hope that all of you find something of value in it. So without wasting any time, the introduction that you heard was something about how the story looks like at the end, but that's not actually how the story sort of unfolded. And all throughout, there was so many moments where uh, it was very unlikely that this story would have an end. It would have a positive ending. And I remember when I was in my second year in degree college, which is where this sort of story begins, and I thought I knew what I wanted out of life. I thought I knew that I have the rest of my life planned out. I was going to study BSc which is a bachelor's in information technology. I thought I'd go on to then work for some company after that, either in an IT role or in a cybersecurity role, and that would be my life. That was the smart thing to do. And uh, sort of halfway into my degree, I realized that the the study wasn't fulfilling at all. The education system that I was in was an absolute fail. I was forced to take up subjects that had nothing to do with what I would go on to do, and there was very, very little flexibility. And it was sort of this approach that was designed to create employees, to create people who can work in organizations and fulfill that role. And it wasn't created for deep thinkers, for people who want to sort of explore everything that their mind finds curious, or everything that they may be passionate about. And it was really funny because actually, before I came to my degree college, I was more interested in computers than I was after I left the college. And it was like the degree was focused on year after year, sort of getting me to a point where I hated the subject by the time I graduated. And after my second year, um, I thought to myself that I really need a break. I really need to do something else, because otherwise this will kill my interest in technology. And I don't know what I will do after that, because technology was all I had at that point. So, funnily enough, I was eating a vada pav one day, and under the vada pav there was an advertisement for an internship at DNA. And this was a different kind of internship, because it was a marketing run initiative. And uh, if you got the role, you would get to shadow one of the editors. And they had a fixed number of editors, 8 editors in the organization. And so there were only 8 internship positions available. And this was a breakthrough experience in interning, because normally when you would intern, you would report to someone who would be one level or two levels above you. And you wouldn't have access to someone like the editor, who's built up his understanding through his lifetime of work. And you wouldn't get the opportunity to learn from someone like that directly. So through, I would say, really good luck and good fortune and the universe backing me up, I was able to get that internship. And I performed exceedingly well, way beyond what they had expected or what they had planned for that internship. I wrote a whole host of front page stories. And after my internship got over, the editor in chief called me to his cabin, and he said, "What do you think this paper needs that it doesn't currently have?" And I told him, I said, it's great. Like, we've got all of these cool sections, but we're entering into this new generation, and how can you not have a technology section in the paper? And he just looked at me and he asked me, he's like, "Will you create it?" And I said yes in that moment. And it just happened. One day I was an intern. The next day I was an editor. So that's sort of how my journey began. And even before I could think about graduating from college or any of that, I was already working as an editor. As time went on, I realized that the role I was in and what I was doing uh, wasn't giving me the space or the time to focus on my degree. And parallel, that was the original thought that I had. But as I went on, I realized that I was having so much fun doing what I was doing as an editor, and building a new page and creating this whole edition, that I didn't feel myself getting drawn to going back to that environment anymore. And so I decided to drop out, which was one of the most sort of controversial decisions to make, because My mom is a PhD, and she values education very, very highly, and she studies right up until today. She's got 40 plus diplomas, and she really, really values the academic life. So her son, who she considered to be so bright and with so much promise, 1 year before graduation, dropping out was this huge deal. Yeah, even at home with my granddad and everyone else. But I mean, it just sort of happened. Like I let it happen. And before I knew it, I dropped out, and I realized that uh, after a certain point, the college kept making it more difficult for me to get back. And I realized that my incentive or my internal motivation to get back sort of kept reducing. So I sort of just let it go at one point. And as time went on, I went on to build this successful page right out of scratch. Everything in the page was sort of written by me. There would be 4 articles that would go out every week. And I ran that for 100 editions or 100 weeks. And then I moved on. And when I moved on, when I walked away from that job, realizing that there wasn't enough growth for me and that the environment over there wasn't going to facilitate the next big thing for me, it was sort of like I found myself in ground zero again, because I didn't know where to go from here. I had already achieved what a lot of people wanted to achieve in that field, and I didn't know what was next. So what I went on to do then was I went on to help certain companies figure out how to create presence for themselves and get noticed by the media. And I focused on companies that nobody cared about, but that had huge promise. So people that could actually benefit from my expertise and from my learning. And I went on to help cybersecurity companies get noticed in the media. And that was sort of where this journey of coaching started from, because it was this role, this consultant role that I took up, which was more of an advisory position, where I would advise the CEO of the company, the key management of the company, uh, how to make themselves interesting. And so what naturally happened as a result of that was that people came to me with other problems that somehow seemed related. And when those problems which seemed related uh, were solved well enough, they would come to me with other stuff, and they would be like, hey, so this is something that I'm going through in my life. And I didn't, at that point, I didn't think much of it. I didn't uh, make it like my, didn't look at it as my full-time thing. I went on to then work for the UN, where I had this role as director of digital strategy for the United Nations Young Changemakers Conclave. So I went on to do that, which was slightly different from journalism, and I helped them scale from 500 participants to 2,000 participants in 2 years. And once I was able to make that transition, and I was able to do my contribution there again, I was like, okay, I'll move on. So side by side, this sort of consulting gig kept going on, and it had a coaching component to it. But it was sort of like I would come in and they would be like, hey, this is my set of problems, please solve it for me. And before I realized, I was actually moving from a consulting role into a full-time coaching role. But these were sensitive matters. They were tech companies. A lot of the work that I was doing with them, or what I was advising them with, or what they were telling me about, was all confidential. So even though I had this other thing going on, I wasn't able to bring it into the light, and I wasn't able to take it up as my full time thing. And it was in 2019 that I finished my last journalism gig, and and I realized at that point that I didn't want to do journalism anymore. I didn't want to report on stories that other people were creating, and I didn't want to work for organizations where I would help build something up, and then I would have no say or no control over how those things would continue. And I also wanted a much larger degree of freedom, and I wanted a much larger degree of control over my own life. So I just decided, I mean, after that job got over in January of 2019, I had saved up a good amount of money. I decided that, okay, I'm just not going to be an employee again. And the people around me went like, what, are you crazy? Like, what on earth are you going to do? Like, first you decided to drop out, now you've decided that you don't want to be an employee anymore. Like, you had no experience in business. What are you going to do? And I was just like, I've decided that I don't want to do this. I have all of this experience, and I'll try and weave it together and make something happen. So I decided to take a lot of the year off. I did my yoga teacher training. I traveled a lot, and and on the side, I kept doing these sort of consulting gigs that were paying for my life. But because again of the nature and the companies that I was advising, they wanted a lot of that to stay under wraps. All of that changed when I went for Life Plugin, and I actually met Urmi, and Urmi was the first person who was just like, yeah, I want to have you as my coach, and I want you to help me in whatever way you can, and I'll pay you for it. And she didn't know anything of what I was doing in that consulting gig or any of it, but it was like all of that experience and all of that work up until that point, combined with my effort and my work on my own personal growth and on my own personal growth journey, sort of came together to give or to create this offering. And it was at that point, around Life Plugin last year, where I decided that I was going to deprioritize the consulting sort of work that I was doing, and I was going to become a full-time coach. But I wanted to take some of the aspects from consulting, and I wanted to take some of the aspects from everything that I had done up to that point and create a methodology of coaching that uh, that was unique to me, and that brought out a lot of the shortcomings I saw in traditional coaching. And to just sort of sum up and to tell you what that is coaches have been sought after as remedial professionals, as people who come into your life to solve problems that exist and to help you sort out issues that you may be going through. Almost like you should only go get a coach when you have a problem in your life, which is why when you meet most people, they'll tell you, hey, I don't need a coach. But that's not what I had experienced and what I had understood. What I had experienced and understood was that coaching could be a fundamental support system available to individuals in order to be able to help them live their highest potential. And what I did was I took this combination uh, of current issues and discussions around what are the problems you're facing, and I took the insights from that and built a development process around it, which I call framework coaching. So framework coaching basically says that each person has a perspective or a view of the world, and they have certain tools that they have accessible in order to be able to deal with that world and to be able to deal with that frame. And all framework coaching does, besides obviously solving the problems that you're going through, is to look at that frame and see, okay, how much of that frame is visible to me? Am I looking at that frame in a wrong way, or can I reposition my frame to expand my perspective, grow my boundaries, to be able to reach higher horizons? Or are the tools that I have right now in order to be able to deal with my frame insufficient? And can I add a bunch of tools over there to be able to make my life a little bit better, a little bit more successful. And that is sort of what I do today. And it's a long journey, but and at many times in the journey, if you would pause, you would get, or if you met me, you would get a completely different picture of who I was. But now today, for the first time, I feel confident saying that, hey, I'm Krishna and I'm a framework coach, I'm a writer, and I'm an investor. And these three sort of things are what I choose to do with my time that brings me a lot of happiness. And these are the ways that I have found that I can contribute the maximum amount of value to the lives of the people that I meet. And that's sort of what I want to share as the essence, that it doesn't matter what your journey looks like at any given point. And it doesn't matter how much uncertainty there is. It doesn't matter how unsure you are. But at no point does that mean that you should go back to some sense of a conventional path just because your journey hasn't worked out yet. That yet could be one day away from where you are right now. And all you need to do is take that step instead of turning around. So yeah, that's me and my story in a condensed form. Thank you guys for listening.
Wow, thank you so much, Krishna, for such a great speech. That was very educational. I never knew that you had this great background behind this, as Kritika said, this young-looking face. So that's great. It's very motivational, inspirational, because I myself am struggling. I've said that a lot on this platform. I feel like that's what I'm known for now. So I mean, I graduated this year, so I'm still struggling, to know where my life is heading, or to be in control of my life. I do work, but I work in a place where but I work in something that I love, but I don't want to continue on doing for the rest of my life. So that's what the problem emits from. But you taught me a lot. My first question I'm gonna go first before I open the floor for reflection. You do framework consultation. That's for not for life, like not life coaching. It's related to technology or like something. What is it related to?
So the idea behind framework coaching is that you should be able to apply it to anything. So you can apply it to your life, you can apply it to your job, you can apply it to your career, you can apply it to your business, because the fundamentals still remain the same, right? Whether so if you were looking at your life, there's a way in which you look at your life, and there are tools that you have to deal with your life. If you look at your career, there's a way in which you look at your career, and there are certain set of tools that you have to deal with your career. So the idea is that this should be able to apply to anyone in any situation whatsoever.
So if I booked you, will you be able to will you be able to take me and guide me through the way of choosing like the right path for my, like, I want to do a master's degree, but I have a lot of things in mind. I don't know how to decide, and what are the tools that I have on which I have to decide what's good for me. Like, I feel like there are certain things that are good for me, but I don't want to do other things that I'm interested in, but if I did them, they're not going to give me money. Uh, so this is the problem. Well, you know what, Krishna, we're going to talk. I feel like every time, every speaker, I'm like, I need to talk.
Yeah. Yeah, so I just want to differentiate here between uh, coaching and consulting. So consulting is when you go to someone asking them for practical advice. Is this the most logical step for me to take, or is this career going to make me money? So if what you're seeking from the other person is content, is information, then the other person is a consultant. But if you're looking for someone to help make sense of the information that you already have, that's what a coach does.
I never knew that.
So maybe think about
Awesome.
that first, and then you can
So
decide
you're
whether
a
you.
coach. You're a coach.
Yeah,
I
I'm
have
a
to
coach.
decide first on the master's degree that I want, and then you coach me through it.
Yeah, or you decide that, okay, you know what, these are the master's degrees. I already have the facts, so I already know that this degree will get me this job, and I can potentially earn this much. And you have, like, say, three options in front of you, and then you want to go through the decision making process. So you already have the information, but you don't know how to make the decision. That's
Yes.
the point where a coach can help you. If you don't have
Mm,
the information, you need a consultant.
awesome. Beautiful. All right. I'm gonna get the information and come back to you.
Sure,
Wow,
sure.
you're gonna help me a lot with that. Hopefully. Now let's start with Kritika. I'm pretty sure you have a lot to reflect on because she also is a coach.
Thank you, Vala. So I would just correct you right now. I'm to be a coach, not
All
really a
right.
coach right now. So Krishna, that is one story that you told, and I was able to resonate to you on the early stage of it, where you told that you were good with the technical part, although I was not good with the technical part. I mean, I did not know where to go, and what to do. I had a commerce background, and I was completely lost because commerce was one safe side for me, and I knew that I'll just go with the flow and things will happen. But somewhere deep down I knew that this is not the thing for me, and that is why I left it. And then I was completely lost that what am I going to do next. And things just, as you mentioned, that how important coaches are in life, or mentors, I would say, because I had mentor in my life. So he sort of guided me a little, and things just fell into place. I started getting a little opportunities, and there was once, I remember, when I started with my career. It just happened. I mean, I started as a career counselor, which was nowhere in my horizon, and it got me into giving career talks, and I enjoyed it so much, addressing an audience, helping people out, that I was at that moment was like, yeah, this is what I have to do. This is what I enjoy doing a lot. And then things happened. I got into corporate training, and now, I mean, I'm still struggling a little bit here. This is like a phase that not a very bright phase that I am in right now, but still, I'm struggling, and I'm moving forward bit by bit. So yeah, and I am so much, you are like one of the idol or the path, after listening to your story, that I would want to follow, and I would want to follow you or take your guidance on how I can move further with things. So thanks a lot, and I'm so glad and grateful that we connected at least over Caravan. That yeah, so I would love to be in touch with you and learn more from you. So thanks a lot.
Wow, thank you. I mean, that was so kind of you to say, and I'm happy to help you in any way that I can, and hopefully over the next year or two, I'll be able to come up with a methodology that I can use to help other aspiring coaches take the framework system that I have, and use that to be able to help other people. So hopefully, when that comes around, you'll be one of the first people I think about.
That's amazing. Thanks a lot, and I'm so much looking forward to connect to you after this.
Wow,
Awesome.
beautiful spirits, y'all. Amazing. And now we move on to a new phase. That is Terran.
Yeah. So I've known Krishna for the last 5 months because he's been my coach since the last 5 months, and he's excellent at what he says. The speech, fitting the speech, what he said was wonderful. His coaching is even better than the speech. Let me just, it's that's the only way I can put it. Even I wasn't aware of so many parts of his life, but today I got to learn a lot about him. via this chat. So I'm grateful to be here and to learn so much more about you, buddy.
Wow. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Tarun. Tarun's an amazing human being that came to me through me, and yeah, I've been coaching him for 5 months, and he's shown up ready to do the work every single time. Even if like internally there's a lot of resistance, he'll show up with that resistance, ready and willing to work on himself and to be able to take his life to the next level. And as much as Tarun is inspired by me, uh, that much I am inspired by Tarun.
Thanks, buddy.
Just a sec. Yep, I have to close the door by my leg. And now, now let's hear from Sukoon. Such a beautiful name. It's a name that is mentioned in Arabic as well.
Yes,
Does
it is an
mean the
Arabic
same
name.
thing?
Peace.
Stillness.
Yeah, it does. Bliss.
Peace.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bliss.
Wow, beautiful name.
I try. Let me just say that. So I really enjoyed that. I love how Krishna talked about how, he left this whole conventional paradigm of living and followed his own instinct in life, and how everything's come together. He's put two and two together from whatever he's learned and the experiences he's picked up along the way, and how he's formed everything together to offer what he does to people today. I think that's so powerful, and things like this just open your mindset and give you so much breadth and depth of thinking, and so holistic in every way. I really enjoyed like how his whole experience of where he's come from and how he navigated through his own challenges to where he is today. And just a quick question, if I can ask one. I'm not sure if there's thing for that, but is there?
Yes, of
Can I?
course.
Okay.
Yes.
Does your thing for investing just come out of like how does the whole thing fit together? Is it out of your passion, or it's linked to also like sort of what you do?
So that's a great question. In fact, it's one that I get quite often
Yeah, that's
about
not so great.
how does this whole thing fit together. So what was really interesting, right? I realized that investment advice or financial understanding is actually very freely available. And what people aren't able to do with it is uh, the application of that advice. So, like how I spoke about consulting, right? Instead of consulting, you have investment advisors that are available in the market today, and you have tons of investment advisors that you can go out and get. Whether you want a mutual fund or you want anything in particular that you need, and so for me personally, there were two sort of pieces that came together. One was the aspect of wanting freedom and of wanting a life where I have a much larger degree of control and I can exercise choice in the way that I need. And second was understanding that I had a natural proclivity towards having a problem solving approach and a focus on the psychological aspect that turned out to be really beneficial for coaching. So I take the framework coaching approach and I apply
Sure.
that to financial coaching and not investment advice. And the way in which you differentiate that is you can get all of the information that you need today to invest on Google. Yet you don't see a lot of people compounding their wealth, becoming rich. And the problem to do with that doesn't have to do with not having the advice available. It has to do with not being able to apply that advice. And
Sure.
since I've been able to apply that for myself and create some degree of freedom, because I invest for freedom, the freedom to not need to work, the freedom to not need to do anything specific with my time. That is my goal behind investing, to create larger and larger amounts of freedom in my life. And because I can see the psychological aspect and the ability to make good decisions as being so important, I can bring that financial coaching aspect to my framework coaching methodology and apply that and give people the ability to financially free themselves. It's not magic. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens over a period of years. But even being on that path and seeing it work out for yourself gives you tremendous freedom and gives you tremendous mental and psychological benefits. So that's sort of how the whole piece came together. First, I got those benefits for myself,
Yeah.
and now I'm trying to help
Yeah.
like
So you're
other
the
people
living
get
proof,
it.
essentially. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fantastic. Thank you for clarifying. That's really helpful.
Wow, beautiful question, Sukun. Thank you so much, and great explanation, Mr. Krishna. Just one thing, because I had a phone call in between. So you were speaking about financial investment, right? Not investment in like with information, right? Yeah.
So
All right.
not giving you the information to invest, but again, the same thing like your career situation where you have the information available to yourself. In fact, you can get like absolutely amazing um, investment advice on YouTube. The problem is that it's bundled with like a whole bunch of absolutely terrible advice. And you have to be able to sift through that information and understand yourself, understand what your goals are, and understand what the other person is seeing. And that is where the coaching sort of comes in to benefit you. It's not that I'm going to offer you something in terms of knowledge or
Ayo, sabi ko Maya
insight
Scientist mo.
that's purely unique. It's just the ability to put those things together and use an approach that works with every area of your life. So keep that in the same way.
Awesome. Thank you, Krishna. You're like the only person that makes things simple. I really want to reach out and connect with you afterwards. I'd love to hear now from Trisha, if you can unmute and jump right in.
Hi. Oh my gosh. Wow, Krishna. I was so incredibly just resonating with all of your story. I loved hearing how through every stage you just kept following that divine inspiration, and it kept opening up new doors, new opportunities, new ways of being. And that's amazing. And I think it takes so much courage and bravery to be able to follow that inspiration, because we hear that voice, but we're not always brave enough or trusting of the universe and trusting of that guidance to follow it and to follow through like you have, which has propelled you into your dream life and you're fulfilling your purpose. And that resonates very deeply with me, because I left my corporate job too to also fulfill my passion as being a coach. So I would absolutely love to connect with you. I think we'd have so much in common and collaborate in some way. That, you know, I also love how you've been using it. You have like an appreciation for everything that you've learned along the way, and you're bringing all of those life lessons into what you're serving people with now, which I think is so beautiful. And I just love how you appreciate that even though at different parts of your journey you still weren't feeling like 100%, you still weren't like quite where you wanted to be, like it didn't matter to you, because you knew like, okay, I'll just got to keep going, got to keep following, and it will all come into place. And that trust, you know, you can't necessarily buy that kind of trust. You have to embody it and experience it within yourself. So I think that's so phenomenal. And I loved hearing your story. Thank you so much for sharing.
Wow. I mean, you can tell that you're a coach because you were able to like just juice out insights from that conversation, and you were able to like pick up on all of these indicators, and it's so important because like you said, you know, the trust is a key piece. And also side by side, what's also really important is to not settle, because at every stage in the journey, I had something which seemed pretty decent, and to be able to move past that, I had to give up that. And that's why I tell people who I coach that it's really, really important not only to give up what has not worked for you, but also to give up what has supposedly worked for you, and go with that intuition, with that inspiration, and follow that all the way through. And like you said, one of the most important things to have there is to be able to have that courage and uh, and faith, because it's beyond courage what you need to be able to be on that journey all throughout. So thank you for listening to my story, and thank you for seeing something beautiful in it.
Oh, thank you so much. One last thing, sorry. I'm sure lots of people here are totally inspired by everything you said, especially those big jumps, those big life changes that you were making, especially, dropping out of university with a mum that has a PhD. Like, it's going against all odds pretty much. So what advice do you have for people if they are getting a little divine inspiration, they're getting a little nudge coming in? What advice do you have for them to discern whether or not they should go ahead with that idea?
That's a really interesting question, and I spend some time helping people also navigate this, because you have that intuition that's internally guiding you. You also have something called a flow state, which feels similar to intuition, and you also have the voice in your head. If you are able to differentiate between the three of these things through an established awareness practice, you will be able to identify when is it that you're actually being guided by your intuition, and when is it seeming like you're guided by your intuition. And once you're able to genuinely find that intuitive current, you follow it, and it's not always going to lead you to the right place. And that's really also important to understand, because it's an intuitive current. It's a manifestation of who you are, conscious, unconscious, and preconscious. So the but what's really powerful about that intuitive current is that it is extremely intelligent. And as you trust it, and as you work with it, it improves. I like to say it improves faster than AI does. So you might hit a road bump here or there, but the intuition then sort of auto corrects, and you can get guided in a much more powerful way than you were before. And eventually, as you build it up, like any other skill set or ability, eventually it transforms into a superpower. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. I love that you mentioned the organizing principle of synchronicity as well.
Yeah.
Love that. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much,
Thank
Krishna
you.
and Krishna, for your thorough questions and explanations, everybody. I got another phone call, and I actually have to rewatch this video again because the questions are interesting, and I did not get to hear the answers. Now, Dipti, lovely seeing you again.
Krishna, your story is very inspiring and motivational. And when I was in college, I was just fascinated by that job, journalism, but I can't do that. And I'm a mother of two, and I am doing my MA in the women and gender studies. And thank you. Your story is very nice.
Oh, lovely.
Thank you. Thank
All
you.
the best in your studies. Thank you so much. And we have another new face, which is Pulkit. I've never seen that name, so sorry if I pronounced it wrong. And maybe they're not here. So let's hear from Sunan.
Hello, Krishna. And when I got the invitation for your story, I read the means intro about yourself, and I got stuck to one word, that is tantric. I mean, all the things are different, and this is something different. And I fascinates about that word. And how this could be related to this kind of people or this kind of a person. So I just want to know what is that. And you didn't even mention that in whole story.
So it's funny because it's like the word that pulls everybody's attention towards it. You know, whenever it's there, right? Even on my LinkedIn bio, and in fact, like many people have even told me that if you take away that word from your LinkedIn bio, then people will pay more attention to the other things that you do, because it's such an attention grab that the first focus goes only on that. But it's such an important part of who I am and my own personal journey that I can't not mention it. And it's not commercial. Like, it has nothing to do with work or with money or with anything. It's my personal practice, and
It
it's
means
something
you
that
do
I
some
follow.
things, something means gray or shady or kind of.
So there's a lot of misconception, around tantra and what it does. But if you look at the word tantra, right, it simply just means to weave. And you'd be surprised to know that the whole of yoga, the entirety of yoga, is only one fourth of tantra.
Yeah.
So the whole thing comes from the tantric tradition. The thing is that the tantric tradition has been one of secrecy, and it has been one of lineage. So it's been passed down from teacher to disciple, and at every stage that information has been taken away. It's been morphed, it's been changed, and various other forms of tantra have sort of emerged, which have nothing to do with the real thing. And it's such a I mean, it's such a crazy journey, because I've been on the tantra journey for 3 years now. And still, if, like, if people ask me to tell them where I am in that journey, I have no idea. I have no idea. I'm a student today. I was a student 2 years ago, and I think I will be a student for the rest of my life, because it teaches me how to weave my entire existence together in one. My spirituality, my practice, my work, who I am as a person, and even my sexuality, because that is one of the aspects that people tend to focus on the most. And it's sort of become like this quick fix, or this erotic thing, which it's not. It's not. It is a system that is audacious enough to try and encompass the entire universe in itself. It's so amazing. Yet when you're in it, you feel like you're like going through the universe, and it's that vast, it's that wide, and there's so much to explore and to see. So I don't know if I can, in the other domains, you can ask me a question and I can give you an answer pretty quickly, right? But I don't know with Tantra if I can do that. It's more like,
Complex
No,
than
even
that.
I
more
have
like,
read lot about it, and not that deeper as you. But yeah, I know little things
then
about
you know
Tantra,
it's an
and
amazing journey.
yeah,
And
that's
I
why I
congratulate you
asked
for
you.
being on it.
Yeah, thank you.
I was on mute. Now, beautiful. Let's hear from our great Monica. She always has great reflections. And let's keep it under 2 minutes.
Hello, Krishna. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, when Suman is my sister, when she was talking about Tantra and why we are focusing more about that, I could recall that story, like two terrorists who are talking that, okay, we are going to kill 33,000 people and one donkey. And the third person was like, why one donkey? And the terrorist said, see, I told you, nobody cared about 33,000 people. So I feel that worked similarly with you. the LinkedIn profile. Okay, why Tantra? Why Tantra? So
Yeah.
that was the case. So I'm really sorry that I joined quite late because I'm a fashion designer and I had a one client meeting and I told her, please let's stop and I need to attend this and I'll carry that again after 8. So yeah, I resonated a lot around when you said that, okay, you left the job because when I was working in Manish Malhotra, when I was about to leave my job and start my own business, from I think for 3 days, I was continuously glowing like anything. And people were like, oh God, she's so happy. She's leaving her job. And I was like, oh, I can't even describe that I'm going to start my own business. And वो मन में तो कर रहा था बस इस्तीफा मुंह पे फेंक के मारना है उसके बाद कभी वापस नहीं आना है. So it's like that was really wonderful journey and I'm touchwood for 2020 that I could start my business and I'm able to do what I'm actually loving per day and creating designs. So thank you so much. It felt connected and definitely I'm going to rewatch this video from the start. And one more thing I need to add is when I joined, immediately I could sense that you are quite confident and there is a hold in your full command. That was quite interesting. And I really love the word framework coaching. Like, it's quite interesting. I'm hearing for the first time, I think. Can you describe it a little more?
Yeah. So you're probably hearing it for the first time because I came up with the methodology.
Oh,
So yeah, I get that a lot. But the idea is that you have a frame, so you have a way in which you view the world,
yeah,
and that if you've worked as you have in as you must have in personal growth,
yeah,
a lot of the times people are like, change your perspective, change your outlook, look at the problem differently. So
yeah,
all of that is reframing. So it's
yeah,
taking the frame and
yeah,
adjusting it.
right,
And a lot of the times you can see the problem or you can see the opportunity in front of you, but you don't know what to do with it, right?
where to go,
And
right,
that is the tools bit. So
yeah,
you take the frame and you take the tools, and that's all you really need. And
right.
that's how framework coaching tries to take every complex problem in the world and sort of make it simple.
Right. And I think definitely just like Wala, I'm definitely going to ping you for this because I'm also sensing that, okay, within 5 years from this, from today, I'll be doing X and Y things and I need to achieve so many things. And I think you're the best person to contact with. Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you,
you
thank
so
you,
much.
thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. I feel like you're being booked right now. You are promoting for yourself, and it's not that you're trying hard. It's just that your personality and your welcoming and heartfelt words just speak for you and for your personality. Great. I love that. Moving on to VJ. Did we hear from you? No, we did not.
Thank you, Ola. Krishna. What a great speech. Amazing, amazing. I wanted to ask you, how old are you? Just if you are comfortable with it. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I just wanted to hear how old are you, like if you are comfortable
How
with.
old am I? So I'm 27 years old.
Oh my goodness. At this age and so many things at your head. Awesome, awesome. You have so much of this. I hope your mother name is not Devki. So sorry. So you're quite intellectual. Amazing, amazing, Antonio. So after hearing your story, friends, I suggest you whenever you're eating vada pav, please don't throw the paper. Please read your story. That is very important. You started your journey, BSc, journalism, consultant, advisory, then life coach slash investor, tantric slash traveler. Amazing journey, amazing journey. I think from beginning only your mind was absolutely clear. I think you want actually what you want. You were always going behind that. You left so many things, you dropped out from so many things, even though you were doing well in that. So I like the way you made your life by your own hand, and you have that thought process. Your thought process is also like like how you came with this concept of framework coaching. I don't know, maybe your experience must be reading, or your intellectual came from your mother, like she's in PhD and all. A lot of things combined together, and we have you, Krishna, at this age, and you're doing a fantastic job. I think your concept is awesome. Definitely, I think most of us we need your help, of course. You boycott that conventional approach. That word is good. Like you should not always go through the conventional. We have our mindset. Our subconscious mind is always do that. Okay, this is the way things were done. But you actually disregarded that, and you found a new way. Thanks a lot for introducing us to the framework coaching and your thoughts, sharing us thoughts. Amazing. Thanks, Krishna.
Thank you, Vijay. That was really, really kind of you to grace me with such beautiful words.
Beautiful. And now, until Rakesh give us his last remarks, let's open our cameras, and after he finishes, he'll take a beautiful picture of all of us. Over to you, Rakesh.
Thank you, Vala, and thank you, Krishna. And I don't know what to say. Means your aura and your speech said everything in the whole Caravan meeting. Means everyone felt so connected, and everyone was giving the reflection that they want to connect with you after the talk. After this Carva talk, I want to connect with you. So that's the aura you are creating. So when I heard this whole story, I got connected to that one thing that stuck in my mind, that when you started coaching, every field and every experience of your previous life came together, and that started to coming up, and you started to use it for coaching. So I also experienced some of these things, that I went to some of the training of 1 month in from my office, and that point of time I was reflecting, because I was alone, means from family, from office, and 1 month I was doing that training, and I started to reflect, and I started to realize that all the very experience from my whole life actually I'm using in that training, and I started using those experiences one by one. And means I was very introvert and silent guy, but when I started to realize my strengths and my experiences from my previous life, I started to shine there. Means when I go back and take out some experience and then implement on the whole group, I was very good in technology, and I started to use that technology. So I started to shine. So that was the thing. You are today, you are shining in this Caravan talk, and it's really felt good to hear your story and the path and how you means. There's one thing which I really like, that you have to give up good thing to become better. It was something like that you mentioned.
Yeah, yeah. It was you don't only have to give up what hasn't worked for you, but to progress in life, you also need to give up what has worked for you, and only then can you go from decent or good to great.
To great, yeah, good to better, than great things. So let's have a quick photo of this Caravan. Trisha, are you there? Trisha is there, yes. So who will take? Vala, are you taking, or I should take?
All right, I'll take it.
Okay, okay, okay.
Beautiful. Caravan. Awesome. Oops. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
It is.
No.
It is done.
Yes, done.
Cool.
So,
Cool.
so to close the meeting, there's one thing which clearly came out, is that what our Krishna is talking about, the large amount of freedom, the freedom which he is seeking. And to specific, he was mentioning large degree of freedom. That is what we all are seeking in our life, a freedom. And someone is telling that the secret of happiness is freedom, and the secret of freedom is courage. So to leave Karma, I ask you, what is your freedom, and do you have the courage to go for that freedom. Until next time, meet you on next Saturday. Bye bye for now.
See you.
See you. Bye bye.